Good morning.
Good morning.
So, last Friday for a while, we're going to be on Mondays all next month. Mindful May.
Mindful May, and so we decided to move it to Mindful Mondays. Actually, it's a little bit of a challenge for ourselves as well because Mondays can be kind of chaotic around here, so I think it really...
You wouldn't know anything about that. I'm sure your Mondays are all tranquil. And
Yeah. No manic Mondays.
No manic Mondays in May. We're going to do Mindful Mondays, but today's Friday, which is
and
awesome.
And we're on a little bit early today, so just to kind of set up for those 8 o'clock Mondays.
Yep. We're going to be on at 8 o'clock on Monday all month, talking about mindfulness. So I'm mindful because I'm thinking about stuff all the time. Isn't that what that means?
Mindfulness basically means being present.
Oh.
And so today we really wanted to practice on just how you can bring moments of presence into your day. The whole month we're kind of focusing on different things, like one will be mindfulness walks, another one will be mindfulness eating, and really diving deeper into that, the how-tos and the whys and the science behind it all.
Yeah.
So why is mindfulness important? Like, what does mindfulness do? Like, why do I need to take moments to be mindful?
Yeah, great question. So you've heard me say this 100 million times, but we live in an all yang, all the time society. We're always busy. We're always doing. We're all about our productivity. Mm-hmm. And even when we try to relax, we do yang things. We go play sports, or we play video games where people try to chase us around and kill us, or we go for a run because we don't want to waste any time. But our brain needs to recharge, and we are one being, right? We're not a cardiovascular system and a nervous system and a reproductive system and a digestive system. We're one thing. And when you're always charged up and you're always going, it's the equivalent of being chased by a saber-toothed tiger. And think about it this way. If you're being chased by a pack of wolves, if you're being chased by a saber-toothed tiger, if you're being chased by all the cars around you on the freeway, a bear, it's not the right time to ovulate. Right? So it messes with your hormones. It's not the right time to digest because you should be running. Mm-hmm. So it messes with your digestion. It's not the right time to have deep philosophical thoughts. So it messes with your mind. And your creativity. Right. Yeah. I saw a thing the other day, a guy who did this is a little different, but a meditation challenge. He did 60 days of 1 hour meditation a day. And he said that his productivity and his creativity went up dramatically. Mm-hmm. And I find that to be true too. We meditate usually twice a day, but this mindfulness business isn't really about meditation per se. It's about being present. Mm-hmm. But so that's why it's important to figure out how to be present, because if you have one foot in the past, all the things you're worrying about back there that did happen, like don't stumble over things behind you, right? Don't stumble on things behind you. And then if you got another thing you're worrying about the future, oh my gosh, what about this? What about that? Well, you have nothing to stand on in this present moment. Mm-hmm. So we need to get our feet right under this present moment.
Yeah, Dr. Joe Dispenza, we actually have dived into a lot of his teachings, and he has a great diagram of a stick person standing, like me standing, and then there's like strings, tethers, that there's like a bunch of them going to the past and a bunch of them going to the future, and there's no strings in the present moment. And really he does this diagram of like erasing these strings, or in my vision of like cutting these strings, and then I'm not tied to my past. I'm not tied to my future. I'm completely present in the moment. Yep. And, then it's just like as above, so below, as within, so without. So it's just kind of like to me, that's a great diagram to think of, especially when I'm feeling crazy, or if I'm feeling crazy, if I'm being crazy. With everything that I'm doing, and then, maybe I'm perseverating on something that upset me yesterday. I really can cut those ties and be present in the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, being present seems so obvious, right? I mean, well, of course I'm present. I'm standing here. Well, but are we?
Where are your
Am I?
thoughts? Yeah.
You know, am I? Or are my thoughts ruminating about yesterday or ruminating about the conversation I'm going to have? You know, the interesting thing is, how many times have you had a really contentious conversation with your spouse, with your significant other, and they weren't even present? Right? You were just arguing with them in your head because if I say this, they're going to say that, and if they say that, and then they get home and you're already mad at them.
Conversations never go the way you think they go.
Right,
because, yeah, you're thinking about how people are going to react and respond in the emotions that you're having in the moment. That's why texting is not a good form of communication. Pick up and call someone. At
the very least. In person is better, but yeah, because a tiny percent, less than 10% of the information conveyed is verbal.
Words, yeah.
Yeah.
The rest is body language.
Yeah,
and
tone and attitude. Some languages, interestingly enough, are actually tonal. So the Hmong language is tonal in a low tone, depending on the details of. I'm not an expert in this language, so I apologize to all of you who are Hmong, but I know just enough to screw it up. But a low, kind of normal tone usually means it's not urgent, but a higher tone means more urgency or more significance. And it's even though we don't have a truly tonal language, it's still the true thing, right? The higher our voice gets, the more urgency there tends to be in our message.
Yeah, or perhaps we're conveying it in a calm way, where if you would have sent that text message, they were not calm at the moment, and they wouldn't have interpreted that in the calm tone that you meant it to be.
If you send a text or an email or any other written, I like to say, like if you've ever seen a movie without the music score, it's a completely different experience. I went to school at UCLA, so we had the opportunity to screen a lot of movies in Westwood, and they just show you the pictures, and then they'd show you the score. And so it's a very different thing. It might look like two people are playing, and then they put the sinister music on, and all of a sudden they're fighting, right? So when you send just text, you're allowing the receiver to score the piece. They put their own emotional background into it, and that's usually not good.
Yeah, so take those moments to pick up the phone and call someone when you need to have a hard conversation instead of texting it or
Even though sometimes it feels really good to just text them, because that's what I wanted to do yesterday. I wanted to text them. But instead, let's have a conversation next week.
Yeah.
So mindfulness, that's like, as an example, mindfulness is, I want to text them right now because I'm angry. Okay, well, let's take a moment, take a breath.
Breaths.
Yeah, let's take a breath. Our breath is the obvious connection between our subconscious and our conscious mind, because you can decide if you're going to take a big breath easily, right? I can just decide to yawn. I can decide to take a big breath. I can hold my breath. It's not as easy to do that with your heartbeat, right? Most people, there are people who can, but most people can't just say, I'm going to make my heart go faster. So the breath is this interesting connection between the conscious and the subconscious mind. So take a breath. I like to say, a leisurely yawning breath will really bring you out of fight or flight pretty quickly. 3 or 4 leisurely yawning breaths will get you out of fight or flight.
Yep, it will.
Yeah.
Or even just the breath alone.
Yeah.
And there's an awareness piece of it too, because obviously sometimes you don't know you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off, because you are, and you're in that moment. But if you can take a moment to pause and really just take a few deep breaths, or
so you're suggesting that this series is building because we talked about awareness last month?
Huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all
all
together.
part of it. It's
it
all
really
one
is.
thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It really is. And those mindfulness moments during the day are really important. I hope it's not too windy for you, like you can hear us, because it's windy out here today.
Yeah, it is. So I have my phone set up to beep every hour. And what that is supposed to remind me to do when I don't say, oh, I'm too busy to do that. But what it's supposed to do is remind me to come back. To come back to this present moment, to take a breath, to look around, to live in awe. Because really, if you think about what's happening around us, it's awesome, right? I mean, just this tree behind us.
Just being outdoors. Outdoors is a great way to bring yourself, back into rest and digest and fight or flight.
Absolutely. So, what would be a good way to bring yourself to this present moment? We talked about a couple, breath and...
Yeah, so sometimes when I'm really worked up, I have to just find a quiet spot to sit or pop outdoors for a little bit. And I kind of close my eyes and really check in with my body. I'll maybe take a few big, deep, like cleansing breaths. So like in through my nose. Out through my mouth. And I like to count like 1, 2, 3, 4 in, and then longer out. So whether it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 out, and then hold. Really, that exhale and holding is very parasympathetic.
Yeah.
And then I just like to check in with a lot of times it's my shoulders. Like, okay, where are you at? Are you guys up here? No, okay, we got to settle down. Stretch out my shoulders and my neck, and then it kind of just moves it all the way down to my feet. And really that usually takes me about 2 minutes because I do it a little bit longer. Like, it's like, it's like I just open my eyes and I'm like, chill. That's all I can explain it as. So, I mean, just those little moments sometimes it doesn't always work. Sometimes you have to like get up and walk or sometimes you maybe have to like talk to somebody about
cold out here all of a sudden.
Yeah. I have a coat and a blanket on my lap because I was like, I'm not getting cold today.
So, that's true. Sometimes it takes more. And sometimes when you're really locked in fight or flight, again, going back to the pack of wolves chasing you, the evolutionary idea behind fight or flight. When you're in fight or flight, closing your eyes, it's not really the ideal time to close your eyes.
If you're really ramped up, it doesn't work very well. Let me tell you, I've tried.
Yeah, I mean, if you're being chased by saber-tooth tigers, it's not the time to sit down, cross your legs, and close your eyes. So you have to do a walking thing. You have to do a movement thing.
Yeah, and we're going to touch on all those this month.
Absolutely. So we got a lot in store for mindfulness.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
It really is.
I'm going to say
it's life. It's one of the biggest pivotal changes, I think, that...
Yeah, so I keep coming back to this study, but it's such a profound study. I believe it was Sweden. They asked the question, basically, if you're 60 years old, how do you get to 90? And they looked, okay, do you take your flu shot? Is that the most important thing? Do you do this? Do you do that? Do you do the other thing? Do you take your blood pressure medicine? What is it? Well, the first thing is, you're walking down the street, and somebody passes you, and you look them in the eyes, and you say, good morning, or hello, or whatever. And when you get to a door, you open it, and you let somebody through, and you say good hello to them, or they open it for you, and you have this nanosecond connection where you just acknowledge their presence. That was the number one thing, and they called that social integration. And that's really about being present. It's not about being lost in your thoughts or on your phone and walking past. On your phone as
you open the door and not paying attention to who's coming in and out.
Yep. And then the second thing was having just a few friends, just a couple of friends that you could rely on in a crisis. Those were the two things that were pivotal to getting you to old age, a healthy, vibrant old age. It wasn't going to the gym every day, although there's a piece of that that's important. It wasn't, I mean, think about the blue zones where people live long, healthy lives. Most of those blue zones, people are smoking and drinking and doing all this stuff that we think is so terrible. Well, it is. It's better not to do those things. But this social piece, this presence, this grounding, that's more important. And it's not talked about enough.
No.
So we're going to talk about this month.
Yeah.
All right. Any other thoughts? Because I think we're trying to keep these to 15 minutes, and
10 minutes.
I'm not good at that, so
Yeah,
I got to look at my watch.
Once we get going, it's always hard to reel us back to.
Yeah.
No, I just take a moment, even if you do it right now at the end of this, or maybe you joined in on the short little 30-second meditation I did. But take a moment today to try to take those deep breaths, close your eyes, reset, even if it's for 2 or 3 minutes. Maybe that hourly chime, download the hourly chime app.
Yeah.
I think it's called hourly chime.
Well, there is one. I think there is one called that. I have a multi-chime one.
Oh, okay.
I can do all kinds of crazy
Yeah,
things.
just little reminders. Something to remind
reminders.
yourself to bring you back.
Also,
Take those breaths.
triggering things. So the phone is ringing. Take a breath. The phone. I'm holding the phone like the old-fashioned phone. The young people are like, "What the hell is he doing? Punching himself in the face." The old-fashioned phone, but a phone.
Yeah.
Or I'm getting in my car. The truth is, there's nothing you can do once you get in your car other than drive safely. Worrying about whether or not you're late is not getting you there faster. So make your car except for when your kids are in there screaming, but make your car sort of a tranquility capsule. I'm going to maybe turn on a little bit of nice music. I'm just going to drive.
Yep.
I mean, imagine if that's all you did in your car. You just drove.
Yeah. Or no music and just
And no music.
be present.
Yep, just be present. But so little moments of things that you're already doing. Make your coffee a ritual, right? We've talked about that. I wrote a whole blog about it on our website. Make your coffee a ritual where you just are present with the aroma, with the taste, with the warmth, with the memory.
Yeah, resetting that autonomic nervous system as much as you can during the day, or balancing it, I guess, is maybe a better word. Because you need both, right? You need both. It's not like sympathetic is bad.
No, absolutely. Yeah,
you need both. So it's just bringing a better balance to it. The more you do that, the better you'll digest, the better you'll think, the better you'll feel, the more you'll get out of each moment. Yeah.
So we will see you guys Monday morning, 8 a.m. Be there, be square, and
It might be kind of crazy, right?
it might be kind of crazy and it might be kind of fun to
It
see.
seems silly, but Mondays are usually kind of, kids got to get
So
places.
we'll be here whether our hair is still straight up or whether or not we're actually dressed and ready for work. So we'll see you at 8 a.m. Monday.
Yeah, it'll work.
Now all I got to do is figure out how to turn this off.